Hi everybody, welcome to T-Studio Demos. Today's basic demonstration is how to use charcoal to draw a simple cube lit with one light source. The techniques shown in this demo can be applied to a range of art and illustration projects. As always, it is a good idea to have all your materials ready before you begin. I've laid out the following supplies: paper, a variety of sharpened charcoal or carbon pencils, a kneaded eraser, a white vinyl eraser, a ruler, a paper towel, or other soft tissue for blending, and scrap paper to protect your drawing from your hand. Keep your charcoals nice and sharp as you work today. Also, have a variety of pencils all ready to go, which will minimize interruptions while you work. When working with charcoal, I like to have a sturdy drawing paper. This is a sheet of 90-pound or 147-gram Canson drawing paper. It has an off-white tone and can withstand the abuse that happens with aggressive erasing. I have to tape down my drawing sheet with a few other sheets of paper underneath. That gives me a nice surface on which to draw. Now I'm starting today's drawing by drawing a border or frame for my drawing. I want to do this because it allows me to think compositionally. It also leaves a paper border where I can handle the drawing without smearing my hard work. After finishing the border, I put down a light tone of charcoal using one of my softer charcoal pencils. I want a pretty even tone, but don't want to get too carried away with perfectionism on this. Using my paper towel, I'm now going to try and blend out what I've just drawn. I'm going to be careful, trying hard not to press down too much. I don't want to grind the charcoal into the paper, just to have it softened and sitting on the top. Sometimes paper towels are a little stiff, so I like to crumple it up a bunch of times just to give me a nice softer surface to work with. You notice that I'm going back over it with my pencil just to add a little bit more tone. I didn't like how light it was and felt that it needed to be evened out just a little bit. Using a medium hardness charcoal pencil, I now will block in the contour lines of my drawing. I want to pay close attention to the perspective, proportions, and sighting any angles that I need to get a correct drawing. I also want to block in the cast shadow shape as well. The next step is to add some tone to the shadow areas. This gives me a sense of the scene. I'm still not worrying about details, just broad areas of shadow. And I will use my paper towel to soften my marks when I'm finished. Using a scrap sheet of paper, I'm going to mask off areas so that I can erase out the lighter areas, like the top of this cube here, or the table. My kneaded eraser works great for this. I can fold it over when it gets too dirty. And the advantage of using the scrap paper is that I can get some nice straight lines and hard edges, which is what I'm seeing in the reference image. Now I will continue to further break down the areas of light and shadow into more complex divisions. I'm going to look for things like midtones or variations in the light areas. I will look for variations in shadow areas, including things like reflected light or coarse shadows. I start by paying attention to the quality of edges of my shapes. There are hard edges and soft edges. This drawing has a lot of hard edges and only a few places where there are nice soft edges, including the cast shadow. You also see that as I work, I hold my pencil at the very back. And I want to do this because I don't want to press too hard. I want to creep up on the finished rendering. Also, the nice thing about this is it lets my pencil stay sharper longer. If this is uncomfortable for you to do, you can try practicing this technique on a scrap piece of paper until you can control the pressure. Now I am looking to build up the darks because that is an easy target to hit. It is so much harder to build up more subtler tones on the light side. I also want to switch between pencils once they get too dull. The Knead eraser is also great because you can give it a shape that would best suit your needs. I usually reserve my white vinyl eraser for when I really need to get rid of marks. That eraser makes lots of crumbs. Be careful when you have to get rid of those crumbs. I use a soft brush for that purpose. You could use a paper towel or blow them off, but if you do choose to blow off those crumbs, make sure you don't spit on your drawing by accident. Any droplets of moisture will create a stain that is very hard to remove. You basically turn your drawing into a watercolor. Now, this is probably a good spot to speed up the video. When I feel like I've gotten my drawing to a good stopping point, all I need to do now is clean up the stray marks with my eraser. Then I go over it one more time just to correct anything that looks out of place. Well, I hope you learned something today. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. And again, thanks for watching.